Welcome to TPMG Health Talk. Join us for valuable insights and practical advice on health topics that matter to you most, delivered by our top medical professionals. At Tidewater Physicians Multi-Specialty Group, we're dedicated to providing high-quality, physician-directed care to the Hampton Roads community. Subscribe now and visit mytpmg.com for more resources. Now let's dive into today's episode. I'm excited to introduce today's guest, Dawn Bloch. Dawn has been a clinical research coordinator with TPMG since 2017. She has participated in over 100 clinical trials across a broad range of indications, including cardiovascular diseases, endocrine diseases, infectious diseases, pulmonary diseases, women's health, and more. With experience alongside over 30 sponsors, Dawn's passion for research began while working with an infectious disease physician and continues to be driven by the opportunity to help change lives through new treatments. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I started back in the 90s working for an infectious disease specialist who back then, research was very big with HIV and AIDS. So that is where I developed a passion for research.
Oh, wow. Well, clinical research plays a critical role in advancing patient care and medical innovation. It allows healthcare providers to explore new treatments, improve existing therapies, and contribute to the broader medical community. Let's start with the basics. For those who may not be familiar, what is clinical research?
A clinical research study is a method used by doctors to find better ways to treat, prevent, or cure health conditions that impact all of us one way or another. Through these trials, we can evaluate the safety and effectiveness of potentially new medications, and it gives some patient treatment options that might work better than their current treatment regimens. I think another important point about clinical trials is that studies are not only looking at new medications, but also looking at new devices, vaccines, blood tests, or just looking at using approved medication for other illnesses. For example, we have a bronchiectasis study that's going on right now. The medication is actually already approved for COPD patients. We're just looking at using it to treat a different illness. And of course, there are a lot of myths out there that I know people are nervous about joining a research study. I know that's a big area.
Oh, yeah, we'll get into that. Oh, my gosh. Anytime there's an ad, there's always at least one clinical trial or clinical study with medication specifically, or devices.
Yes.
So when people think of the kind of research you do, are we kind of in the same boat here?
We are. I mean, when I see the ads on TV, all I'm thinking about a lot of times, I'm looking at them thinking, oh, wow, I did one of the research studies for that medication.
Oh.
And I get to tell, family members or whoever I'm watching TV with, like, hey, I did the research for that study. Without the research trials that we do on these medications, they would not be commercially available for patients to use.
Do you find it challenging at times to recruit participants due to the overwhelming amount of advertising for some of these clinical trials?
No, I think the main problem, the main myth patients have about the skepticism about doing clinical research is, I'll be like a guinea pig. No one wants to feel like a test subject. Safety is the most important thing in clinical trials. The first phase of clinical trials are all about making sure the treatment is safe. Before treatments even reach human trials, they go through extensive testing in the laboratory and on animals to check for safety, to begin to look at the effectiveness of the medication and determine potential risk. This means by the time the treatment makes it to the later phases of research trials, we know more about the medication. For the later phases, what I'm talking about is there's 4 phases in clinical research. Phase 1 is the initial safety. That's usually in a small group of people who have no underlying condition. Phase 2, we're looking at the effectiveness of the medication and gathering more information about potential side effects. Phase 3, we're comparing the medication to existing treatments for that same condition. And phase 4 trials are usually done after the medication is FDA approved. So we're looking at long-term effectiveness of the medication. So we're gathering more information even after the drug is already available out commercially. Patients will get regular checkups and care throughout the study. We as researchers are committed to making sure you are as safe and comfortable as possible as you help with the advancement of medical science. The second most common myth I have heard, patients tell me it's never been before used in humans. So the medication's never been taken before. They are nervous about being the first to ever take the medication. This is not true. Many trials that we are participating here in our division are using medications that are already approved for one disease are now being studied for a different illness. Like I said earlier, we have a bronchiectasis study that is using a medication that's already approved for COPD. We are doing an idiopathic hypersomnia trial that is also using a medication that is already approved for narcolepsy. We are just studying it in a different indication. So here at the TPMG Research Division, Williamsburg, we collaborate as a team. Dr. Parisi as the pulmonologist for respiratory studies, Dr. Frances Jones, the gastroenterologist. She's the principal investigator on all the GI studies. And of course, we are always looking to expand our indications for trials with neurology, cardiovascular, and of course, the physicians research a lot of information about the medications prior to deciding if they want to participate in the study. Because first and foremost, safety of the patient is the main focus here at TPMG. So when a patient enters a trial, we like to say they have VIP status. We are in constant contact with them. A lot of studies are having the patients complete a daily questionnaire about how they are feeling, which triggers an alert to our office if the patient is having a problem, as well as seeing the study physicians more frequently than the normal standard of care. Our number one priority is to protect the safety of our patients. Since TPMG is a multi-specialty physician group, if any problem arises that a patient needs a care from another specialist or needs a procedure such as a CT or X-ray, we have the capability to do that because of our group.
Yeah, and we had Dr. Parisi and Dr. Jones on our podcast. Can you share a success story or a memorable moment from a trial that really stands out to you?
I've seen a lot of success stories throughout my years in research. Most recently, I had a patient in a Crohn's study who has seen so much improvement with his condition. This particular study, we were testing a medication that was already approved for another illness and was being tested in patients with Crohn's. And through this research, the drug is now FDA approved and commercially available. So we are in the process of transitioning the patients onto this medication. It has affected their lives and benefited them so much. Oh. I have also had numerous patients in our idiopathic hypersomnia study that have said that it has improved their quality of life. They are no longer needing to take a nap during the day. Patients with idiopathic hypersomnia, unfortunately, a lot of times they nap throughout the day, they fall asleep, and this medication has improved that. And all because of a new formulation of a drug that's already approved.
That's great. That's what keeps you going.
That is why I love this field.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've been in it for quite a long time.
You get to firsthand witness the impact, the positive impact clinical research makes.
Yes, it's an amazing field.
Going back to the stages, there's 4 stages. It sounds like a long time. How long does step 1 to step 4 usually take before you get the FDA, right? That's the end?
It usually takes several years. So each phase 1 is a small group. Phase 2, you're looking at, it could be 50 to 200. Phase 3 is usually several thousand. And then phase 4, of course, the medication's already approved. So each phase, there's a larger group of people in each trial. And the trials could be up to a year long each. So that's why it usually takes several years. And we have a lot of data before going to the FDA.
If a patient is interested in a study, in a clinical trial, how can they participate?
Usually patients are identified to us by the physician handling the study. So patients for Dr. Parisi for the respiratory trials, Dr. Jones's patients for the GI trials, we are notified by the physician that the patients are potentially interested in the trial, and we reach out to the patient, and then we schedule a visit with the research department. At that first visit with us, we spend a substantial amount of time going through a document called an ICF or informed consent form The informed consent form is a document that addresses the basic rights of research participants and emphasizes voluntary participation, which means at any point in time, you can decide that you no longer want to participate in this research study. The ICF outlines the purpose of the trial, any procedures that will be done, the risk, the benefits, and rights of the participant before they agree to take part in the study. Their patients are given an opportunity to ask questions that they might have to the study physician and the research staff. The patients are given as much time as they need to make the decision if they actually want to participate in our research trials. If they do decide to participate, they are given a copy of the signed ICF to take home with them so they can go back and look over with their families, friends, whoever they would like to discuss it with.
And you mentioned voluntary. Does that mean it's cost-free for patients?
Once they sign up to do the research study, all the procedures that are required for the study, any testing, ECGs, pulmonary functions, endoscopies, anything that needs to be done is covered through the research study. The patients do not have to pay for any of these procedures. The medications are provided to the patients at no cost.
That's really important. Every little bit helps for sure. So, of course, after listening to this episode, people are going to want to know what to look for. How can they find the current clinical research trials that are going on in Williamsburg?
So patients can go to the TPMG website and look at the clinical research division. We currently have 2 locations. I am located in Williamsburg, but we also have an office in Newport News. The trials are listed on the website. Currently in Williamsburg, we are enrolling for a chronic cough study, a bronchiectasis study, COPD, asthma, and a Crohn's study.
You can find an updated list of our active clinical trials on our website for both clinical research locations. Now let's talk about medications, a topic we know is often top of mind for patients.
People don't understand a lot about research, and they need to understand that medications, all medications before they are approved, go through all of these trials.
Any and all medications?
Most medications before they are commercially available have gone through trials. That's the way we learn about the potential risks, the side effects. So when you go to the pharmacy and you have that little pamphlet they give you with all the side effects, it's because one person in a clinical trial has stated they had this side effect, and so it's in that pamphlet.
Right. The side effects can be so overwhelming.
It can be, but we just have to make sure patients realize that just because one person had this side effect does not mean it's going to affect you. Don't let it scare you. It's just we have to do these research trials to learn more about the medications.
So with that in mind, what makes TPMG's approach to clinical research stand out?
TPMG is set apart with clinical research trials because the physicians overseeing each of these studies is a specialist in their field.
You must learn something new every day.
I do.
I can see that you're super passionate about clinical research. What is your favorite thing about clinical research?
I love meeting new people and helping them, hopefully changing their life with these new medications that can help their illnesses.
I love that you've been able to see a lot of these trials work firsthand. There are obviously skepticism when it comes to medications. What do you tell people to kind of assure them, maybe it sometimes won't work?
Of course, there's always the chance that patients do not benefit from being in a study. We go through all of that at that first visit when we go through the informed consent document. We cannot guarantee that the medications will help you. If at some point in the study the medication is not working and you are progressively getting worse with your illness, the research physicians can remove you from the study. Your health is our number one priority. So if the medication is not working, of course, we're going to discontinue you from the research medication. But for those that are skeptical, well, I don't want to do it if I'm not going to benefit, just know we have to do these studies to hopefully help our future generations. The medications might not help you, but it does not mean it's not going to help someone else.
Yeah, I love that you touched on the bigger picture here is our future and our health of children, grandchildren, neighbors, your friends.
Yes.
It's not just about you, it's about the greater community, which speaks to a lot about TPMG's core values of community effort.
Yes, it does.
Now, do you have to be a patient to participate in these clinical trials?
No, you do not. Anyone who is interested in participating in a clinical research study with us just has to go to our website.
Well, thank you for sharing your insights with us today, Dawn, and a big thank you to those of you tuning into this episode of TPMG Health Talk. At TPMG, we're committed to supporting you with a team of skilled and experienced providers, all working together to help you achieve your best health. If you have any questions or would like to learn more about clinical research opportunities at TPMG, be sure to visit mytpmg.com for more resources and information. And don't forget to subscribe to TPMG Health Talk. Join us next time for more valuable advice from our trusted medical professionals. Take care.
The information shared on today's podcast is not intended to be medical advice, nor is it meant to replace a professional consultation with a healthcare provider. The opinions expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect those of TPMG or its providers and physicians.